yourself.
I'm Joyce Johnson, and I live near Putnam on Gordon Street.
Thank you, Joyce. And Cindy?
I'm Cindy Brown. I live at Rose Villa on River Road.
Thank you, Cindy. Linda Seals?
I am, I live at the southern end of Oak Grove, Woodland Way, south of Oak Grove Boulevard.
All right, thank you, Linda. And Brooke?
Yes, sir. Lieutenant Gramer, I'm with Clackamas Fire. I'm stationed at Station 3 here at Oak Grove Boulevard and McLaughlin.
Thank you, Brooke, for joining us. You're going to be one of our presenters tonight. We'll go on next to Marilyn Goshall.
Marilyn, I live at Rose Villa.
Thank you, Marilyn. And next would be Marilyn Wall.
I live on Aldercrest.
Thank you, Marilyn. Tom Hogan.
I'm Tom Hogan, and we live on Oldfield Road between Concord and Thiessen.
Thank you. Cindy Brown.
Oh, I already said, I'm Cindy Brown. I live at Rose Villa.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Cindy. My list keeps changing as people come about, so my apologies. So Bob Knorr from Clackamas County, would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for having me today. I'm Bob Knorr, design and construction project manager at this time, design project manager for the Courtney Avenue Complete Streets project. That's between 99W and River Road. And we'll talk more about that when it's convenient for you.
All right.
Thanks
Well,
for
thank you,
having me.
Bob. And you're one of our presenters tonight. Baldwin, how about you?
Yeah, I'm Baldwin Vanderbilt. I live on Neff Road, almost next to Stringfield Park.
Perfect. Thank you. And Dave Doback.
I live at Rose Villa.
Thank you, Dave. Eleanor.
Hey everyone, I live on Laurie Avenue, just south of Oak Grove Boulevard.
Thank you, Eleanor. Good to see you here. And Gwen.
Hello, I'm Gwen. I live on Evergreen, right across to the trolley trail on 25th.
Thank you. And I have Linda's iPad.
And I'm Linda Newbloom, and I live up by View Acre School.
Thank you. And let's see. The next one would be Sarah LaPrade.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I own the Literacy Kid Lounge on Oak Grove Boulevard, and I live in downtown Milwaukee, so I'm close.
Thank you, Sarah. You're going to be one of our presenters tonight here in just a moment. Sue Conahan.
Sue Conahan, and I live at Parkview Circle and River Road.
Thank you. And Tom Hogan.
Tom, you're muted.
I'm Tom Hogan, and hello, everybody. We live on Oldfield Road between Concord and Thiessen, the house with the lamppost, if you're driving up.
All right. Thank you, Tom. And Tom Hammond.
We're Tom and Jolene Hammond. We live on Viewcrest Drive.
Very good. Thank you. So have I missed anyone? I hope I haven't. If you have not introduced yourself, go ahead and please do that now.
I'm Pam Moran, and I live at Rose Villa.
Oh, thank you, Pam.
Yeah.
Anyone else that we forgot to have an introduction?
Bobby Paredes is coming in right now. We can catch her when she's connected.
All right. And normally we ask if there's anyone here for the very first time. If you are, go ahead and speak up. Do we have anyone that's here for the very first time? All right, well, it looks like we're going to work on that. All right,
Bobby,
Valerie.
I'm going to let Bobby introduce herself.
Okay.
Is my audio on?
Yes.
Sure is, Bobby. Go ahead.
Oh, hi, I'm Bobby. I'm the owner of the station at Oak Grove, downtown Oak Grove.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Bobby. So Valerie, I'll pass it on back to you.
All right, and I'm Valerie Chapman, and I also live on Evergreen, close to the trolley trail. And thank you, Mark, for picking up. I wanted to be able to let Lieutenant Brooke in, and I had to go to my other computer in order to do that. So how that works. So let's begin with some officer reports. Jane, do you want to start us with a treasurer and also maybe take on the minutes piece for us?
Yes, I will help with the minutes, and the treasurer's report is exactly the same amount that I had reported last month. We've had no money in, no money out. And the report is, I don't know what it is because I'm in Pacific City right now, but it's the same amount of money. 600 and some dollars, Valerie?
$670 and 32 cents.
Thank you, 32 cents.
And do you want to check
Oh,
with
yes,
people?
I'd also like to ask if anyone has any suggestions or changes that were made to the minutes. If you've looked at the minutes, or make sure your names were included if you were here. Are there any alterations you'd like to make? Hearing none, well, I suppose we will accept the minutes as presented. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move to inviting Sarah LaPrade to talk to us about the Literacy Kid Lounge.
Hey, everybody. So I'm actually here right now because I thought it would be the quietest place, but my daughter's here with me, so it's not. I'm Sarah LaPrade, and I have been working on the Literacy Kid Lounge for about 7 years now. I've worked with different book sellers and in different spaces, but this is my first brick and mortar, which is super exciting. I finally have a space that I get to do all the fun things that I want to do. At the Literacy Kid Lounge, I work with littles and their caregivers. A little backstory, I started this phase of my business around the pandemic, when I knew that kiddos and their caregivers needed a safe place to be together, because kids were kind of not seeing each other or seeing other people. And so I was in the basement of Moreland Presbyterian, and then I had another space, and then this space came up. And so I've been here since September, beginning of September, middle of August. I can't remember. It's been a whirlwind. But yeah, so I work with littles and their caregivers. I have classes where we do story time, music and movement, and arts and crafts, and then we build community. So we go on field trips, we go to the pumpkin patch, do different things within the community to teach kiddos to support other businesses that are small businesses in our area and beyond. And then I do events on the weekends so that everyone has access to the space. I do something on Saturdays called Crafternoons, which are anyone, any ages can come, and we just do a special. It's different every weekend. And then the first Sunday of every month, I do a give back to the community where we have a story time and pizza party. Fun. So yeah, I'm super excited to be here. I can do all the things that I want, I feel now. Santa's coming, and yeah, it's just a really special place, and neighbors are wonderful, and everyone's been so welcoming.
Can
you want to tell us where you're located exactly?
So I'm located in on Oak Grove Boulevard, 2200, between the space that's going to be rented soon and Seed Soil Bloom in the station at Oak Grove. So that's about, yeah.
How old, when you say the littles, are you saying, is that pre-kindergarten, or does it include kindergarten, or how do you do that?
So the classes are for 0 to 6-year-olds. I have infant play group, which is kind of a space for, the kiddos to come and crawl all over each other and play, but also the parents to come together and talk about, not being able to sleep last night, or, having trouble with feeding, or just having that bond of community of someone who's going through it. So, and then the other classes are there's a 2s and 3s class, and then there's a 12 to 24 month class.
So any questions for Sarah?
Well, I don't necessarily have a question, but Sarah, I'm thrilled that you're in the community and in the neighborhood, and it's fantastic, and we need things like this, and I wish you all the wonderful things, and I want to connect you with everybody I know who
Oh, thank you.
has anything to do with like the daycare center and New Urban High School and all these
Yeah.
things. It's just fantastic. And I know with Bobby here, I'm sure she's got you just embraced in all the wonderfulness that we hope will come your way. So
Thank you
I'm
so
so
much.
grateful you're here with us.
Thank you.
And-
Yeah.
and Sarah, how does someone get in touch with you? Do you have a website or phone number?
Yes, so I have a website. It's pdxstorytime.com. And on there, it has all of my events that I do, which are ones that are open to the community, where you don't have to sign up for an experience. And then also the different experiences, classes that you can take with your littles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you say pdxstorytime.com?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Linda, you have a question?
How do you charge, or are you a nonprofit or what?
I'm a business, so I'm not a nonprofit. People pay for the classes to come to, so it's a monthly experience that they do. And then I also do different events that cost different prices. And then I also have free events that I do.
So how do you get your information out to the public?
So I use Instagram, PDX Parents. I've been connected with Portland for about 7 years, like I said. So I've built a lot of relationships with different businesses and had the ability. So we all just kind of support each other and share each other and everything. So I do collaborations with a lot of places as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you for coming. And Bobby has a question. You're muted, Bobby.
Sorry. I just want to say that I'm so excited that Sarah's joined the station at Oak Grove and our community, because she's taken her passion and and she's just made this brilliant, I think it's a brilliant model for a business, just really unique, and it's also needed. And I was over there yesterday, and I watched these parents or something, I guess they're parents, with little kids, all of them. They were just kept walking in the door, one right after another. And then they were all doing their little story thing in there. And it's just, I think it's really a good thing for our community. And I think after the trunk or treat that's going to be on Sunday, all the trick or treaters coming down, I think that Sarah's going to get a lot of business and a lot of just some exposure, so all of the families in the whole community can see that she's there and what she has to offer. And it's just a unique business that I just think she's brilliant.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
Joyce.
So what were the ages again that you served?
So 0 to 6, but a little older. Like my daughter's 7.5, and she comes to like my crafternoons and my story time events. But the classes, I call them experiences, are for babies. So I have a baby play group, and then I have a 12 to 24 month group and a 2 to 4 group.
Do you have homeschool clients?
You know, I have not had that happen. I've had a few homeschool people that have come in. That's one group that I have not really fully connected with, which I would love to. Because I have a lot of older kid things that I like to do, but it's hard to reach them. It's hard to get them, you know, there's a need, but like ones that are in school, they by 3:30, they don't want to go do any more extra, you know, things usually. So
Sure. Yeah. Anyway, that would be an interesting aspect to
yeah, I love
research. Yeah. Great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sarah. We really appreciate your coming and being part, and we look forward to the time when instead of being just the Portland businesses that you're connected to, you're connected to the Oak Grove unincorporated area
excited.
business in Clackamas County. So welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Certainly. So let's move on our agenda. We had Captain Micah Shelton from the fire district, but Captain Shelton is on their way home from vacation and contacted me. They're not going to make it. So I want, and we're really pleased to have Lieutenant Brooke Grammer with us tonight. And thank you for filling in. So we're really pleased to have you. And so it's your time. So you are muted. There you go.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what I'm supposed to present on here. I was told that you were mainly kind of maybe looking for some resources for kind of like seniors in the community and maybe some tips on cold weather preparation. Is that correct?
Well, what we'd asked, what I talked with Captain Chilton about was giving us an overview of the kinds of activities that have taken place from the fire district and our community. So that number of calls you have, the kind of calls you're taking, and what's going on. So that's what we talked about, plus those other things, if you have time to do that, or anything that you can give us. I realize that you're on the spot.
Yeah. Yeah, so on average, we kind of come close to that 400 call mark each month, which is, we're the busiest fire station in Clackamas County. We run a fire engine and a medic unit out of this station here. With that, kind of majority of the calls we're running on are medical calls, slips, trips, falls types of things. I'd say I'd recommend just making sure your homes are clear of clutter, trip hazards, make sure your rugs are, flat to the ground, kind of conducive with being able to walk around and not tripping over it in a sense. It seems like that's a small thing, but it's kind of a big thing for as we're running a majority of our calls on that type of thing. Fires, it's been a little bit of a slow fire month, which is good. I would say just making sure that, going into these winter months that you're watching the candles in your house. They're pretty, they smell good, but making sure that there's no clutter around candles within your house. Making sure that if you're using propane heaters, don't use them, inside your house. Make sure it's a well ventilated area. If you're using space heaters, make sure you give space heaters space. If you have a fireplace, make sure you clean your chimneys. Hopefully you've cleaned them up to this point, but I'd say, it's better late than never, because this is a common type of call you're going to see us running from here forward, are chimney fires, which then progress into attic fires, and ultimately turn into full residential fires. So it's just kind of doing a couple of those main prep things leading into this winter, making sure that you keep your home and your family safe. With that, making sure that your carbon monoxide detectors and smoke detectors are working, of course. A couple other things that we're going to be probably seeing spool up here pretty quick is water calls. With the weather getting colder, we're going to see a lot of broken pipes. With that, make sure you know where your main water shutoff to your house is, because that can save yourself a lot of damage. It's one of those things that more often than not, people don't know where those shutoffs are located to their house. And sometimes by the time we get there to shut that off for you, or shut it off kind of at the road, your whole house has been flooded. So it's just get that familiarization in place. Make sure you have these alarms working well, and just kind of be safe going into this winter when it comes to heating your house. Captain Shelton also told me to kind of share with you guys some like a resource guide opportunities, and he said like Clackamas the Clackamas County website is a good resource for being able to reach out and find resources for, say, like seniors, aging, disability type thing. If let's say you run low on resources going into this winter, you don't have heat, you don't have power, reach out to Clackamas County and they're able to kind of help facilitate, get those needs set up for you. Yeah, questions?
Okay, well, it's been a long time since we've had some, we used to have a regular update from the fire district that would let us know, about the number of calls and the kind of things that were happening. So we're always interested, and if we can, start putting that together. And I know Captain Shelton sent me an email and suggested we get together and kind of talk about, putting some things together for the future. So are there, maybe what we can ask from people, are there things in particular you would like to know from the fire district that could be helpful in putting together a report? Jane.
Oh, I did have a question regarding fires that had happened in our neighborhoods. How or if a person is able to ask what a cause of a fire may be, is that something you have to formally request and pay for a report? Or is there ever any published data on? I recently had a house fire this summer in back of my house, and we were all puzzled as to what caused such extensive damage. But I wonder how that ever gets reported, if at all.
So with that, it was your property that was on fire, it sounds like.
No.
Fine.
No,
Okay.
it's
Yeah, if
not.
you're directly involved, sometimes that could get a little bit tougher just due to confidentiality, but you can request a fire report. If you just go to clackamasfire.com and you go into the resources section, there is a section that is, you can kind of request a report, or you reach out to our fire marshal's office and they're able to line that information out for you.
Okay, thank you.
So understand that sometimes cause of a fire can take a while, depending on type, size, type. I'm not an investigator or a fire marshal, so the specifics on that I couldn't really say. But if it was a large incident, yeah, it definitely can take time.
Yes, it was. There were many responding pieces of equipment for several hours, and it was rather large. But okay, well, thank you for that information on the clackamasfire.com.
So in the calls that you take, I mean, are mostly house fires, or are you called out for accidents on McLaughlin, or I mean, how does that?
Yeah, like I said, mostly medical calls. Yeah, fall victims are kind of our most common, I would say. Car accidents on McLaughlin might account for, gosh, 5% of our call volume. Fires less of a percentage than that. And I have a 911 call to go on right now, so I will have to log out.
All right. Well, thank you for being here.
Engine 303 and AMR.
Okay. All right. Well, I got the message from Captain Shelton late last evening saying that he was coming in on vacation. And I know that people have all experienced this, where flights are not exactly what you thought they were going to be. And so he had contacted the lieutenant. So if it felt a little bit like she didn't have everything she wanted to have, no, but I'm really grateful that they were here, and the captain has assured me they're going to figure out a way to make sure that they're able to come. So we may have a shorter meeting than we planned. That might be an okay thing tonight. But let's go ahead and move over to Clackamas County, and Bob Noor, do you want to report for us?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me again this evening. It's been a while since I was here, and we've kind of given you an update on the project. We're at presently this is the Courtney Avenue Complete Streets project, And we're under the design right now. It's, again, the project is located along Courtney Avenue between OR 99E and River Road. Presently in this, we call it the 60% design stage, where we feel like we're 60% of the way through design. That does not include right-of-way. We haven't started our right-of-way phase yet. And that is kind of a lengthy period of about a year to a year and a half itself. But we are starting to kind of flesh out what the project entails. Many of you may know a little bit about the project. I'm happy to answer questions. The intent of the project is to improve vehicle and pedestrian access to Courtney and the surrounding areas, such as the Oak Grove neighborhood and downtown schools. Right now, Courtney Avenue, like a lot of streets, or I should say roadways in the county, doesn't have, it has sidewalks, but could sure use some more, and it's not real safe. I know when I walk along it, sometimes I can envision why there's a need for some improvements. So we hope to add sidewalks on both sides. That's the plan, adding sidewalks on both sides. Bike lanes. Most of our projects now include a space or a place for bikes to ride, in addition to sidewalks. And the sidewalks tend to be, on this project, going to be setback sidewalks with a planter strip between the edge of curb and the sidewalk, or the face of curb and sidewalk. Not in all locations, but where we can, we're going to have setback sidewalks with a planter strip. And kind of jogging in and along the between planter strips are going between the curb and sidewalk in that space. And I should show you a picture here maybe. Are stormwater rain gardens, we call them. And you've seen these all over Portland and your neighborhoods or different places. We're needing to mitigate the collection of stormwater. We're creating additional hard surfaces, and with that you create more runoff, and that has to be dealt with. And so try to beautify those with birds and bunnies and plants and make them look nice as best you can for a roadway, and then provide for safe travel for pedestrians, bikes, and cars. We don't expect a lot of right-of-way interruptions or purchases. There'll be some, mostly temporary construction easements on this project, fortunately. One of the things going on right now is utility coordination. We're working closely with PGE and other utilities to review our design and their existing facilities, and kind of learning where we can move them out of the way and we can do our work too. There was, let's see, we're providing, you might see out there, I'm kind of looking at some of my notes. We call an RRFB, a rectangular rapid flashing beacon. That is, you're driving toward Arista on Courtney, you'll see a flashing beacon sometimes alerting you that there's a school crossing coming up, and that's there at the trolley trail. So we'll be putting a new one in, and we are providing, in addition to that, some other upgrades to advanced warning types of flashing, advanced warning signs, speed radar, feedback signs. Some of that is included at River Road too. You might have noticed there's a change out there at River Road that's hopefully enhancing. That's more of a flashing red, and our traffic engineers kind of put that into play. We'll kind of coordinate our design with that work too.
And just to interrupt, I want to tell you how grateful I am for that four-way stop at Courtney and River Road, and the flashing red light, seeing as my car was totaled there some years ago. And it's just a wonderful thing.
Great.
Here, here, I agree.
It's great, especially when riding a bicycle. It's like, thank you so much.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. You're buttering me up. It's not me. It's Christian Snuffin and Carl Olson, and our traffic engineering, Joe Merrick.
Well, you get some of the credit and just pass it on to them, because thank you so much.
I work closely with them on the design of this project too. So,
well, Joe Merrick is familiar with this area and the community council. We know that. So
absolutely. We did a health impact study before the project started. I was involved in those meetings. trying to kind of take some of that data and infuse it into the design. But yeah, we as such, you mentioned River Road. We're going to put ADA ramps in at that corner. There'll be ADA ramp improvements all along the project corridor between River and 99. You can see that right now I've got, there's a few areas that have some trees. And so we're having our county arborist out to look at the trees. We hate to damage. We either need to buy the trees if we damage the tree root system, or we'll find a way to go around them, or we have to make those kind of decisions. So that's kind of in play. I want to mention right away. Our right away phase doesn't really start until January. Usually we don't start negotiating right away until we got a better idea what the project footprint looks like, and so we're nearing that point. But we need to start developing what we call legal descriptions of the properties and what our project looks like, and then get approval. This is federal aid, by the way. This project has got federal money through grant dollars from the Federal Highway Administration and Metro and ODOT. So it has some very tight guidelines and constraints that we as a team have to comply with. And one of those is how we proceed with the right-of-way phase. We've done a lot of, up until now, the boring stuff like environmental impact and environmental things. I like it. It's fun because you have historical studies, cultural studies, archaeological studies, and then we're studying for, the contaminated soils at all. I don't know if you know that soils can get contaminated now by, our brake lining, our brakes on our, it ends up on the shoulders. Copper, lead, and zinc. We stopped making asbestos line brakes back in the 90s, and we ended up doing steel, metal brakes. Well, that copper, lead, and zinc that's in those brake pads ends up on the shoulders and that's what that black powder is on your front tires. A lot of times when you see, if you have to wash your tires on your cars, that's usually copper, lead, and zinc, part of that residue. And so with that, can you imagine here, we have to test the soils, and we have to actually remove contaminated soils from the project and then replace them, because federal highway does not allow, we have to either encapsulate it in the project or haul it off. And so we go through those kind of environmental studies too. I hope I'm not boring you. Maybe I should try to share a picture here. Let's see if I can.
No, I'll put you on so that you can do that.
Oh, great. Thanks, Ms. Chapman. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think Carmen said that you wouldn't need it, so I didn't automatically do that.
Oh yeah, well, whatever you'd like. Let's see here. I'm gonna try. Let's see. Can you see that my screen there a little bit?
No.
Not yet. Oh, maybe I have to. Oh, I have to actually press the button called share.
Okay.
Okay. Boy, I don't know how well this is going to refresh. It's a big file. Okay, well, I can, let's try to find my little hand up here. There it is to pan with. Let's see if I got, yeah, okay, good. This is the original rendition that we did during the alternative analysis phase of the project, right at the beginning of our design. And it's changed a lot since, but its general concepts still are in play. What you see here are planter strips in green, and interspersed in between them will be these rain gardens too, but this is the sidewalks in gray with little dots, and then the driveway approaches, the ADA ramps. The new striping includes the bike lanes on both sides and the travel lanes here with the center line. And then in the middle here, you see Arista and that concrete kind of intersection tabletop, we kind of call it. We're putting new ADA ramps in there too, and new crosswalks. We tried, so this is the low part of the project, the elevation wise. Most of the water comes to this point eventually. We investigated the idea of putting a stormwater facility here, but because the ground, or I should say the Linden Creek watershed is so flat and there's not a lot of elevation difference along the project, it's hard to move the water. So we're having to try to retain it in these water quality facilities or planters along the roadway and slowly release it into the Boardman Creek, or I should say Linden Creek, without, overwhelming it. It goes on, and I wanted to kind of get to the end here quick. Okay. I don't know if you know, but this project this parcel, this property right here on the corner of 99 and Courtney is currently a private development, and we are coordinating our design with this project too. It's being reviewed by the county property owner. They have bought both these parcels, I guess, and so they're going to put a driveway right here is their plan. We'll probably stop our project short here and we'll avoid 99, but we're kind of collaborating with them. The typical section, it's a little cartoon picture. I see if I can get a little closer. There we go. As you can see, we're trying, this is a cross section. We call it typical cross section of 2 travel lanes showing cars, bike lanes, a planter strip, and sidewalks in general. I'm going to put a cough drop in, I apologize. We show candlesticks here, but I'm not sure. We've decided against that. They're a maintenance issue. Today, the project, can you see those plan sheets now where it says Clackamas County Department of Transportation or not? Okay, good. I wasn't sure. Sometimes when you change screens, it doesn't work, but this is actually a copy of our 60% design. This is the cover sheet to our plan set. Kind of shows you a site map and then a layout of the plan sheets. And if I kind of scroll through some of it, it's hard. If you don't read these plans every day, it's a little bit overwhelming. But again, 2 travel lanes here and a cross section of the sidewalks back here. I was going to try to find something of interest here, but this would be too much to share. What else can let's see here. I was going to show.
I have a question, Bob, about, you talked about the area there, which is on right at Courtney and 99, where the old parking lot where there used to be Kino's store, back in the old days and whatnot. And that, as you go down Courtney from McLaughlin, that long stretch from the corner down. I mean, that is, if you're a person that walks, that's an incredibly dangerous area right now because the whole parking lot empties onto Courtney without any stop. So anybody can drive through, and they do. And across on the other side, you have a service station. So that's not a great side of the street to walk on either. So
no.
I'm curious, do you know who's bought that property? Are they going to develop that whole, what's happening there, and will it be safe?
I can report on that, Valerie.
Good. I'll let you start.
Great, because I always think that is the most dangerous spot to walk in that whole area because you just have no protection from all the in and out of people on cars. So, yeah. I'm glad there'll be a sidewalk, and I hope that means that it's just not this great open car in and out space.
Who is the gentleman that wanted to share a little bit about what that?
Well, I think Joseph is gonna he's our LUART chair, so I guess he'll have that information when he talks about land use.
Oh,
So
Okay, I wasn't sure if you wanted to tee me up for that right now, but otherwise I can continue. So there is a developer. It is Chick-fil-A. You may or may not know that. That receives different responses from folks in different ways. But I know if they do go through and build, they'll build before we do. That's the plan. I know that the construction crew will be excited about that for lunchtime. But anyway, little sidebar there. Sorry. We're working closely with their consultant engineer right now that represents the architect and the developer in coordinating our design with theirs. And that's it, really it in a nutshell. The other thing I wanted to show you as an alternative, which we did adopt, is some parking. Now, a lot of you might have heard that we took away all the parking on Courtney between 99 and River. And we considered that. I was told to about that. You must realize as a project manager, I'm handed these projects after they've been cooked and baked a little bit, at least at the planning stage. But we were sensitive to and listened to folks concerned about removing all the parking. And so I went out and did some parking studies on my own, kind of not real scientific, but as best as an engineer can do. I walked around and counted cars, which was exciting on the weekend. And concluded that most of the apartment parking lots have adequate levels of parking that suffice to you know, meet people's needs. But we did create some turnouts right here, and you can see, and these parking turnouts are between 99 and Arista. Okay, they're on the north side. Here's one right here, and one right here. So I think we've got 25 parking spots is what we provided for, something of that nature on the street. I did consider, you know, parking availability on the side streets. Parking is always a sensitive issue, and so we just very much tried to address that in our design, and you'll see more about that later. This is a private development here, and it's long since, you know, completed or underway. They finished their site development and have been now they're building on this. You folks are probably aware at Linden and Courtney, we collaborated with them as well as far as our design goes. Trying to think what else. Does anyone have any further questions?
Yeah, I'll jump in with a quick question. So with the introduction of parking into the design, did you consider using a parking protected bike lane design instead of having the parking vehicles cross the bicycle lane to access the parking?
Yeah, that's always a great question. We did consider that, and I'm trying to think what we actually, I'm thinking that we, you know, the concern was for when vehicles are open in their car doors, right?
I mean, ideally, we would have physical protection between the travel lanes and the bicycle lane.
Yeah.
And so, right. So that the moving traffic is not next to the bicycles. And so if you have parking, you do like your diagram right there, and you'd park to the left of the bicycle lane.
And you know, this is a generic concept of a cycle track and you know, a bike planning. But we talked a lot about this. We talked a lot about putting up the candlesticks and creating a physical barrier of separation. It's very difficult to maintain. It is really hard to maintain. And so maintenance and traffic engineering and the whole team, we decided against putting in a concrete, plus we didn't have the right of way to widen out. So if I were to increase this a little bit, part of what we dealt with here is the existing is a two 12-foot travel lanes. And then there is a bikeway shoulder. It varies, 3 to 12 feet. We're narrowing the travel lanes up by 2 feet. And we're creating a buffered bike lane. So it is protected in the sense that you've seen these all over the place. They get that 2 foot wide, striping that are separated, and kind of it's 8 feet wide, but it's a 2 foot kind of no man's zone there, and then the 6 foot wide bikeway.
Yeah, and the problem with that is that people driving tend to use that as part of their travel lane, unless there's physical protection, physical barriers inside the buffer. So it's not really effective when it's just paint. So quick question, my understanding, I thought that we had originally written physical protection of the bicycle lanes into the grant request to Metro. And so was that not really the case? Is that not a requirement that we maintain that physical protection components in order to, continue receiving the grant funds?
Well, that's a great question. I think you might have asked that before if I've been in a meeting with you before, or others have. And I'd have to go back and look at the grant application. I do not know the specifics of that, to answer that question responsibly. We certainly talked about it, and it has not come up. We work closely with our bike folks like Scott Holscher and others during our design. So we agreed as a team that we would not have, and it seemed like I don't remember any pushback from having introduced, or, well, I do remember as a team that we kind of had to let Scott know, hey, we're not able to do that.
Yeah, Scott wrote the original grant, and so he would know if it was put in there as a requirement.
He would, and I was just looking at the grant before the meeting here. I keep a copy and I look at it, but believe me, I'd have to read it for that particular deal.
They are lengthy.
Yes, they are. And that's a good question. Hit me with another one. I don't mind at all.
This is Linda Seals. And my question is, looking at this, and what Joseph was just talking about, do you really need 5 foot wide landscape strip, or instead of taking it out of the vehicle lane, take some of that space for the bike lane out of the landscape lane?
Yeah. I often think of that myself when I'm, the answer to that from our planners would be that we're following our comprehensive plan. That's the simple answer of it.
Shouldn't we be following a sensical plan?
A sensical plan? Sure. And I get that. Some things we have to address on an individual basis. And so we do take the comprehensive plan and we do apply it to individuals, projects and situations. But the comprehensive plan was developed over many years by many parties and had a lot of buy-in, and was developed by, professionals, hired and otherwise, in-house and out of house, and the public with input. So that's adopted, and the planning staff, we have guidelines as far as, and I'm really giving you a good political answer here, sorry. We just have guidelines. We have a typical section that we try to follow. And this is kind of part of that. The width of the bike lanes, the width of our planter strips and sidewalks becomes adopted as standards. Now,
I'll jump in with just a little bit of a footnote to that.
Good.
Is that it's scientifically proven that narrower traffic lanes mean lower speeds. And so when you have 12-foot travel lanes, you have people driving higher speeds, and those are not safe speeds at 12-foot wide to have on Courtney. We need to be slowing traffic down to 25 miles an hour, and so that means narrower travel lanes in order to actually provide that signal to drivers that they need to slow down.
Yeah, and with that, thank you, Joseph. Ms. Seals, to kind of go off what he said, the road, the functional class of the road is a collector. It's kind of more for local roads, neighborhoods than would be an arterial that takes more high-speed traffic, such as like Redland Road. And so he's right. We do. That's one way to slow down the traffic, is to narrow up the travel lanes. With limited dollars and limited right-of-way width, we are also trying to pack in a lot. Do we narrow up certain widths on certain things? Sure. On individual situations, we might, but we have to do a design exception, and get approval from others to do that. And that was not discussed here. We're going with our standard typical section for a comprehensive plan. That's a long answer for a short question.
I have a thought, that, I know that there were people that were very concerned about taking out all parking on that street.
Right.
But to do unprotected bicycle lanes on a street that's right in front of a grade school, which is where, you expect that there will be children and sometimes their parents as well that are bicycling to school. So if, it's like you've got both the parking, but then we also have unprotected bike lanes. And I'm wondering if that makes two issues that make it more dangerous, that there's both parking and the lanes are unprotected. And maybe, I don't know, I'm just throwing this up. Maybe it should be one or the other. Either they're protected lanes or there's parking, but not, I don't know.
Yeah.
And the trolley trail, and the trolley trail.
Yeah, but there's the trolley trail, but there's kids that's not the way they all go home,
Well, this is an intersection with the trolley trail, and so it has special importance.
Right.
It's a feeder, to the trolley trail as much as it is to McLaughlin or River Road. So, we really have to think about the fact that we are funneling traffic, vulnerable road users onto this facility to access other, facilities. And if we're going to funnel them there, we should provide them with safe facilities.
I was going to try to provide some, okay, I see what's going on here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So this is the 60% design signing, or this is the striping plan, which is easier for me to show you than other. This is an example right here, and I don't know how well can you folks see where I show here. This is a number, 10-foot travel lane, 10-foot travel lane, and then a 6-foot bike lane. Can you see that okay? Great. So again, here's the corner of Linden. Here's an ADA ramp landing and another one, and then the sidewalks back here. And then in front of this, here's a water quality facility right here, a little stormwater planter. And then here's a planter strip, bike lane, the 2-foot buffer, the 10-foot travel lane, and the same on the other side. Here's a little bike symbol. And then the same thing's repeated on the south side. Water quality facility, ADA ramp, ADA ramp. Right here is some parking that we provided. We were going to take it all out, but like I said, we put some parking back into the project at the request of many. So, Joseph, I guess what I couldn't remember when you asked the question was, darn, did we provide any room for bikes to get by the parked cars? And I haven't looked at the plans here in a couple weeks, but I'm working on other projects. But yes, to answer your question, it's not protected, but at least there is a place for the bikes to ride. Scott's concern was cars opening their doors while bikes are driving by, and I get that.
Yeah, and also it's the actual crossing. It's the car crossing the bicycle lane to access the parking as well, rather than that's a conflict. Rather than parking to the left of the bicycle lane, which would then not be a conflict.
Yeah, like,
but you'd have to weave the bicycle lane, under this present design, which rather than having it continue straight. So I understand why you have this design. It was more of a question of, did you consider swapping that so that the bike lane would ride
We did not
closer to
consider
the
it.
sidewalk?
We did not consider it, I would say. And the reason why was because we were going to eliminate all the parking. That was in the grant
Right.
application. And
Yeah, it
so,
was.
yeah, and so if you eliminate all the parking, it's not an issue then. You're
Yeah,
just going to
that's
put in
true.
bike lanes. And so at the request of many, we decided, okay, we'll put some parking back. And the parking only occurs east of Arista. On the north side, there's about
Yeah.
five of these areas. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's probably, to answer your question, Valerie and Joseph, it's not always perfect, but it does provide a place for bikes and pedestrians, maybe more protected in the sense that there's a space for these folks, you and I, when we're either walking or riding our bikes than there was before.
Joyce, you have a question? Your hand.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about the planting areas for the
Yeah.
runoff. Is that also scientifically looked at, and is that?
Yeah.
So the amount that you have there is specified for some set of measurements about what is needed.
Oh yeah. I was going to go back to the stormwater. Let's see if I can find a. Nope. Let's see. Are these the? Oh, that's the paving plan. Without
Anyway.
trying to find the sheet, what I wanted to really say to you is that yes, it is the volume and the storage capacity of each of those facilities is calculated based on the amount of additional runoff we expect. So we create additional hard surfaces. We call them impervious surfaces. You can actually calculate the amount of additional runoff. You actually then take a look at the entire watershed, how much the watershed produces pre-design, pre-project, and then we look at then the amount of additional water we're going to add, and then you have to address what to do with that water, and then you have to size facilities accordingly to retain and treat the water before you release it back into the watershed. And so all that is carefully planned out, and we have a stormwater management report.
That would be another reason to not take part of that away for other barrier or use and whatnot is what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. The project has it's got way more stormwater on it, stormwater piping. We've had to replace the stormwater system pretty much the full length of the project. And so that has added additional scope to the project. So we're going to have a new and improved stormwater system. So, what you don't see underground is buried is all the manholes and stormwater catch basins and piping and things that help alleviate flooding, not only to the street where we access the roadway, but also to the Linden Creek watershed, I call it, as it flows north, which backs up, I understand, onto Courtney. So I've taken a lot of your time. Are there any other questions? Be happy.
I have two questions. One is if you are adding any street lighting as a part of the project.
Yes.
The other is the rapid flashing beacons at the trolley trail. How are those? How do you make those engage? As someone's riding a bicycle on the trolley trail, how would they make that rapid flashing beacon start to work? Can you explain that?
Yeah. And I think what you're suggesting is that the flashing beacon is on the trolley trail. Is that correct? to help alert drivers that they're about ready to cross.
Right, it's at
Courtney?
the intersection there that where the trolley trail continues
Yeah,
on to the north. Yeah.
yep. And actually, I just happened to nail it there, didn't I? The right sheet. So what you'll notice is this is the sheet that indicates the school zone flasher, the RRFB, rectangular rapid flashing beacon plan. And let's see here if I can move that. There we go. Here's Arista, here's Courtney, and this is north, up. And on the east side of Arista are the two beacons. There's actually another one over here too. But I think what happens when pedestrians want to cross, and I think it's more, I wonder too, they activate it right here. And it's more for the pedestrians activating it, not the bikes, of course. And then it sets off the flashers here. And I think another one back here. Does that make sense? So they're activated here when pedestrians want to cross, and they start flashing ahead of the intersection on both sides for eastbound and then for westbound.
So if a bicyclist is coming down Arista to the north and they want to cross, then they would go over to the pole where they
Right
would
here.
push the button to make the RFB start to work. Is that
I
kind of the idea?
Yep, I believe so. I don't think we have loop detection for bikes on Arista. We do have loop detection for bikes at OR 99E, and we're creating bike lanes there. I should say a space for bikes at 99E too. You might have seen these deals before, but that's the detailed sheet for the flashing beacon. Your other question, what's this one here? Oh, this might be of value. No, this is at River. So we do have a flashing beacon that we're going to include at River to make improvements there. And it's escaping me right now, all the details of that. Post-mounted, I remember that, post-mounted flashing beacon. So in addition to the excitement for the improvements made at River, there will be further improvements when this project is completed. That will kind of dovetail and coincide with what traffic engineers already done there. But I wanted to get back to the illumination. I was just looking at these yesterday for our street lighting staff. There they are. Illumination sheets. Okay, this is the table. And basically, we are removing and adding street light here. And this is at River, a new one here. So we're either removing existing and adding new, or we're adding actually new street light pole. This is actually a new pole right here. And I don't know if you can tell, again, this is looking down from space, looking at a plan view of the road. I have to forget or remember that, not everyone looks at these every day. So if you don't understand, please do speak up. The general sense of it is that, yes, we're putting streetlights in a number of different locations. And then what happens is that we can't put the entire roadway on one sheet of paper. So here's the beginning of the project, and you get to 1,500, about 300 feet down the road. I think it starts at 12. Yeah, 300 feet. And then the rest of it continues right here. And so then we're getting closer to Lee Avenue, and we're still putting streetlights in on the north side. And then that continues here at Arista. We're putting in the streetlights here and here and here. Good, huh? More streetlights are good. So.
And so these streetlights are the newer type that don't bleed off that much off into the properties adjacent to them. Is that right?
Yes, in general, they are LED Cobra head, the ones that hang, down like that, if I can do that. And our consultant team has designers that do illumination design. They work specifically with PGE to do that, and they do a light analysis to see what the footprint is of the light and how far it spreads. And I don't, a lot of times I'll see that in the plans, and I was looking for it here for a second, but I don't see, that's the siding and striping. Sometimes I'll see that in here, and I don't see that they included it yet. It might be in the 90%, but the answer in general is yes.
Bob, I want to thank you for a very, very thorough. We had more time to give you than we had planned, and so we appreciate your taking that time and sharing with us the plans.
You bet.
I think that's very helpful. I was glad to hear you're going to have some tree work done. I know there's some spots, particularly at the crossing where the trolley trail is, when you're crossing going south, that to the right, there's a lot of trees that make it feel like you can't really be seen by cars coming down as you're crossing. So it's nice to know that that's going to be taken care of. So
yeah, and those trees, I'm showing you a picture of our project website, by the way. So if you want to, you can always visit our Clackamas County Engineering website and go to Transportation Engineering and then Courtney Avenue Complete Streets, or you can just Google that. And in fact, there you see the existing rapid rectangular flashing beacons. But the trees that Valerie, that you're referring to are along here that I'm having the arborist look at on the other side of Arista to the south. So yep. Do feel free to look at our website. We haven't updated in a while, but we do keep our government of public affairs staff, Cameron Ruin, she keeps me on point and asks questions, and we do update it. But there's frequently asked questions on the website, and then my name and phone number and email address if you wish to contact me. I welcome your questions. And
well, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thanks for the time with you and all. And I wish you well, and I hope to do right by you. We want to do the right thing and make a good, safe place for you to live. Okay.
Good. Thank you.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Joseph, do you want to update us with some LUART information?
Yeah. And Bob actually gave me something a reminder that I needed to update you guys about, which is during our couple months this summer where we didn't meet, we did receive a land use application about that property at the the northwest corner of Courtney and McLaughlin. And it is proposed to be a Chick-fil-A drive-through restaurant. The timing of the land use application and the response, deadline, and the fact that we didn't have a meeting, that month, meant that, we didn't have anything relevant to show. So we don't have a presentation for that one, but we did receive it, and it didn't go under the radar. We just didn't have a meeting to, talk about it when it was actionable. So that was that one. What I was going to show you today, which I think we mentioned last month, it had just come in, and so it probably isn't actionable at this point. I'm sure our deadline has passed since those things go by in about 3 weeks. But because there's been nothing else, we're just going to show you what we've got. So, Eleanor, did you have a question about the Chick-fil-A before I move on to the dock?
Yeah, just the thought. So it's at that corner, but it's that whole strip mall there. So it's really just that corner where it's mainly a parking lot, and it's like I can't remember what it's like a furniture business. It's there in that first space. So is it just in the parking lot, or is it actually one of the buildings?
They're going to demo part of the building and put up a standalone Chick-fil-A drive-through restaurant.
Okay. So then there's some shift then in ownership perhaps of that whole strip.
I'm not sure exactly how that, those kinds of details don't come through in the land use application.
Right. Yeah.
We're really just looking at, so the application is filed by someone who is, you know, an authorized actor. You know, it may not even be the current property owner. It might be a, you know, prospective developer or whatever. And so, you know, it could be purely speculative, right? And, you know, and no ownership has, you know, transaction has actually taken place yet. The transaction may be contingent on getting the permits to do the thing that they're proposed to do. So we're not privy to those details when it comes through for a land use application.
I just remembered, dear beloved departed Jerry Foy talking about that strip mall and who owned it and how long they'd owned it and just different things. So there's just some shifts. So I won't speculate, but it just made me wonder. So it is going to be
Yeah. So I can't speak to any of that. But I can say that, you know, like Bob alluded to, since the county is kind of pulling back on their plans to improve that segment of the roadway, it's because the developer has to do it as part of their you know, site improvement.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Joseph, for all that you do. Thank you.
Of course.
Bob,
did you have a question about the Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, and this is at Courtney and McLaughlin.
McLaughlin. Yeah.
Okay, where Keno's used to be, I'm assuming.
Yes.
There's nothing else around that it could otherwise be. So, okay, I just was.
Yeah, there might technically be room for it in the parking lot, but by the plans show to demo part, you know, the southern part of that building.
Okay. Thank you.
Isn't there a business that's been in that building?
It was the Teen Challenge for a long time, and they've moved to the south a mile or two.
Okay.
I think are they in the old Clackamas Federal Credit Union building or something?
What's in that corner now is Bargain Eagle.
Okay.
Yeah. And is Bargain Eagle still open? Because it seemed like that was an open business. So I'm curious about the building. Bob said that they bought part of that
still open.
building.
Yeah.
So did they buy part of that building? And you know, I was just curious about how that's moving around.
Well, the lot to the west is unimproved. It's just a vacant lot.
Okay.
And so, but they needed that room for the driveway to get the driveway far enough away from McLaughlin to meet standards. You know, you're not supposed to be right there up at the intersection, you know, with the driveway entrance. So, so they needed that extra room, and then they're gonna have to pave that whole thing solid, you know, with sidewalks and storm planters and everything, just like we want. Just like you were saying, Valerie, you know, to close up and tighten up that parking lot at the south end where it's just a free for all right now. And so that will all happen, but they needed that extra lot to kind of get that room. And then the southern end of the strip mall, which was Keno's, was Teen Challenge, is now Bargain Eagle or whatever, Eagle Bargain Outlet. That part of the building is supposed to be demolished, and some part of that end of the building is supposed to be demolished to make room for a standalone Chick-fil-A. So what we can do is next month is December, when we come back to the first week of December, I can show the plans for that. I just wasn't prepared with that right now. But I'll and they're big, so I don't want to pull them up and try to show them to you here and, you know, try to scroll to the right page and everything. So let me make a little presentation of the Chick-fil-A development. I'll show it next time we meet. You'll kind of get a sense of what's going to happen there and what it's going to look like, and I'll be able to respond a little bit more intelligently to questions about that, you know, at that point in time.
It's just so exciting to think that with Chick-fil-A, it's like, what fast food outlet do we not have within just a few short miles of our homes?
In and out.
Really, in and out. Okay, that'll be coming up next week then, probably. Sorry, I just sorry. Yeah, okay.
Tom, you have a question?
Yes, I wonder if you know how many houses are going to be built on the improvement on Wallace off of Thiessen?
Oh, wasn't that less than 10? Like, or was it 12? I mean, it was right around there. It was technically just barely a major subdivision. So like right around 10, I think it was. But no, I'd have to look that up. I don't have that right at hand. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a big property.
It is a big property, but they're also, the minimum lot size is very large. So you know, there's only so many properties that you can really create out of that. But yeah, I can, if you want, I can email you with information.
No, I think we're kind of watching.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. So then just really quick, I'm going to share, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go to the plans. Can you see?
Yeah. Well, we can see your screen. We don't see plans yet. So we can't hear you, and we don't see, we just have the desktop of your screen. There you
Yeah, well, I love it when this really works. So, you know, this works every other time I try it. So it's like it works. I get confidence that it's going to work the next time I try it, and then I try it for you guys, and it doesn't work. So I'm gonna try one more time.
Okay.
It's not exciting stuff, so I just wanted to show you something. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Let's see.
No, we just got the desktop again.
All right. Well, anyway, there's a doc. It's you know, one of many. I wanted to just kind of show what those plans look like, but you know, it's just a dock in the floodplain with a ramp, or I mean, a dock with a ramp in the floodplain, or you know, that kind of crosses the floodplain over to the backside of a property. You know, just to the south, kind of a little bit between Oak Grove and Courtney, you know, or Concord, I meant, on the river. So anyway, there's nothing actionable about that. It was, again, just kind of showing that there's been some activity in the last, you know, month or so, but other than that, it's been really quiet. And so everything you're seeing is stuff that's already been permitted and really hasn't been coming through for land use approvals very recently.
All right. Well, thank you. So moving on to committee reports, and we have a report from the Friends of Oak Grove Community Council. Last month at our Oak Grove Community Council meeting, we passed a motion saying that we would ask the Friends, which is a private nonprofit that was formed to support the Oak Grove Community Council and the Oak Grove community, if they would assist us in procuring the kind of a hybrid equipment that we need in order to have a hybrid meeting. So I'm going to switch hats now. Now I'm going to speak to you as member of the Friends 501c3 and tell you that we raised $3,180 thanks to the donations of people in the community, and also to a significant donation that came in from the Harding Gilbraith Family Trust. So, and with that, we have the Friends have the money, and we will get the equipment that is needed. So, and donate that to the Oak Grove Community Council. All of this means that we expect to be meeting in person with a hybrid option at our December 4th meeting. So we will be meeting at the Oak Lodge Water Services District building, the building, not the one on Maple Street, the one all the way at the corner of Oak Grove Boulevard and River Road. There's a parking lot there. It's in the room. Many of you may have met in that room when Oak Grove Community Council used to meet there some years ago. In fact, the very first meeting I ever went to with Oak Grove Community Council, they were meeting in that particular room. So the Oak Lodge Water Services District is working with the community council. They have assisted us with some funding. All right, I'll switch hats again. So they had given the Water Services District had given us a grant of $1,000 a year for 3 years. This would be the second year. And in talking with them about the need for an LED screen to be installed up on their wall, we're putting that $1,000 is sort of like keep that and use that as part of the 85-inch LED screen that they are having installed in that room. That then will make it much easier for us to connect in with the equipment that we will receive from the Friends. So thank you to everybody that was willing to donate. The Friends account is open and there's a link to it from our website. Any money that the community donates to that on a regular basis or semi-regular, or anything you want to give to that, all funds will be used for the Oak Grove community and the benefit of the Oak Grove Community Council. So it's up and running. I don't know if there's anything else to say about that. I look forward to seeing people in person, those of you that are able to come, and and having the hybrid option means that if people are, have a sniffly nose, don't feel like driving at night, whatever it might be, you can still participate in the meeting. So I think we've been working on this for a long time. It feels like forever.
So Valerie, congratulations for creating the 501c3 and making that all happen and having this happen. Congratulations. Thank you so much for all of your efforts and everyone else, but I know that you had a lot to do with it. So
yeah, I think this is going to work really well for the community.
yeah,
So Joseph and Mark and Wayne and Rich Nipon is also part of the Friends. So all of us are listed on that website. So you can go to the Oak Grove Community Council website and you can click on the link and see what's there.
It's a
So
wonderful organization to have. It's great. Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to add that, I joined the council here in February 2020. And the next month we shut down and went to hybrid for a really long time. And so this has been a long time in coming. So I'm very happy to see that happening and just thank everybody for their support in making this happen. And we're looking forward to seeing a lot of you in person. And maybe we'll have a party. I don't know. That'd be kind of fun. So we'll be letting you guys know more about that as it comes together for our December 4th meeting.
we've been talking about maybe it'd be a really nice meeting for people that might want to. We could bring like cookies for the holidays or something that we want to share with one another, where we could actually visit with people as we come in and as we leave our meeting. So, and there's nice people that have never been in that room. There's a little kitchenette area, so we have access to that. And there's also the public restrooms that we have that access, and a really nice parking area. So I think it'll work well for us. So other committee reports tonight. I know that there must be somebody going to talk to us about trunk or treat, right? Is there any trunk or treaters?
Absolutely. Trunk or treat 3 to 6, Sunday, the 27th. Dress up, bring your kids. We had lots of people last year. It is so much fun. It is so much fun. Really. It's great. So
I think it's on both sides of Oak Grove Boulevard this year and the full block.
it is.
And,
so park in the church, and
yep.
it's the full block from Rupert, from the church to Arista. And it's
And
true,
back, yeah.
like filled right up, and the coffee shop is doing a stellar job of putting it together. And we got a $250 donation from the water services to help buy candy. So yes.
And I'm going to say that maybe last year, what did we estimate? About 1,500 kids came through, something in that neighborhood.
That's what I've been told, and that's what I think will be happening. So yeah, it's great, and the adults dress up and the kids dress up, and it's amazing. Everybody's on really good behavior. Sometimes you wait for like 45 minutes, and everybody's just really patient because they got their little treats on the way. It's darling. It's a beautiful, wonderful thing to participate in. So I encourage
So
you.
last year we had Mark, didn't you sort of represent the Oak Grove Community Council with
I did. Yeah, we did.
Are we going to have representation this year? Is there?
I did not sign up this year just because of my knee surgery, so I don't think we will this year, but hope we will try next year.
Well, and maybe next year we'll think about planning it so it isn't just fall on your head about being the only people to we can get participation from some of the rest of us to be down there. So yeah, how many trunks with treats will there be this year?
My understanding is there are 36 and that there is a waiting list. So,
okay.
so it's
we don't have to feel bad that that we're
Valerie, do not feel bad. Agree.
Okay,
You
I'm
do
always
not have to
happy
feel bad.
not to feel bad.
The dentist will have plenty of customers, no problem.
Okay, all
Would
right.
you repeat the date for that again?
On Sunday, the 27th. So it's the Sunday before Halloween. We always do it on a weekend. And it's from 3 to 6.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it's great. It's really great. So,
All right. Do we have other committee reports? Do we have anything from parks or library or CERT or any of the other committees that?
I do know offhand that Friends of the Library will have 2 booths at the trunk or treat and will be handing out free books.
Oh,
great. So, not just candy, but books.
I'm sure all of you have seen the library is coming right along, and they're moving lots of dirt and starting to put things up, the building put up. They expect us to, we're going to have that up and running a year from now. So that's going to come really fast. And I think a lot of people are very excited about it. The community center will be coming later, and there's a lot of work that's going to be taking place to determine what kind of programs are going to be taking place in the community center and how that's going to be funded and so on. So a lot of stuff coming up in the future there.
Are there any other committees or public comments or announcements that people would like to make? I would like to just make a suggestion for us to think about, and I would welcome any feedback. The board has been talking about hybrid meetings for a while now, and we have watched really carefully COVID numbers in our community, which many of you may know have spiked in like August, September. They were way up, and I know I personally know several people that were pretty sick with COVID. So it's not entirely gone from our communities, which is probably something that we have to put up with. But I would like to just maybe put out for suggestion, that if people want to, people can, if they are feeling not well, they can come to the meeting online. If they can't come online and they really want to come to the meeting, to suggest that that's the appropriate people to mask, is that if you're not feeling well, maybe to think about protecting the rest of the community, that and it would be possible for us maybe to have a few masks there if somebody is not feeling well and they feel like they need to, because it's not gone. We're in a way better situation and we want to be able to see people. So rather than having people that are feeling well mask, maybe we just think about the way they do it in Europe or in Japan and encourage people to mask if they're coming to the meeting in person and not feeling well. So does that feel like a fair suggestion to people?
Well, yeah, whether it's COVID or just the common cold. I mean, consider the
Yes.
impact we have on others.
Or stay home and do.
Come online, yeah.
Yeah, I would for sure do that and not come.
I do know that there are people in our community that have not come to any meetings in 4 years because they have not had access online. So that's part of it. So if maybe we could just like again have a little stack of masks for people and a little sign if you're not feeling well. Don't share that part with us. Anyway, okay. That's all I have. So our next meeting, for those just remember, this is our combined November, December meeting. So there is no meeting on the 4th Wednesday of November or December. Instead, we have one meeting. It's on the first Wednesday of December. That will be December the 4th. And we will hope to see a lot of people in person as well as online. And the board meeting will be November the 4th. I think there was a mix up in whether we were doing a board meeting or having a planning meeting, and that was my fault. I had upset him, and a concern in my family, and I got out of the rhythm of what we were doing. So November 4th will be the board meeting. And that link is on our website. And with that, if there's no further ado, we are adjourned.